Don't always nail that registration on the first time. But I like it when I do. Alright, they want these 6 inches. That's how I'll do them. All right. Hard to line these left chests up. take these around 3 times. Once for the underbase, and then the top coat twice. Water base, got to get it a little bit more opaque than that. That's all right. got a little bit off. Last time I had those tightened down good enough. DMB's new album. That's what I'm jamming to. Make sure I got those good and tight this time. Boom. it shifted again? Is it just that flat? Ends up with arm number 1.
Hey.
Yeah. Looks fine on that one. That one looks fine too. I think I didn't have the platen tight enough. So, might be why that one is shifting and the rest of them look fine. Yeah, that's dead on. So, I think the platen was just loose. Sorry, I should have specified Dave Matthews Band. I actually have been jamming to more like, I'm really getting into not electronic music. I mean, I guess it's electronic, but more like, it's called, you know, a Euro rack and modular synthesis and like kind of ambient, lo-fi, that kind of stuff. And this guy right here, Select is the name of it. I don't know if that's very visible, but Select and Lost in Noise. I'm going to listen to it now. It's so good. Let's see if this one lands. See, that's a little bit better, but that was just a little off. I printed extras of these, so I'm printing more than the actual customer ordered for this reason. I'm going to go sideways. Handy little trick there. When you're pushing this way, you know, when you're registering these prints, you're actually getting it offset just a tad this way, so that when you're pushing the ink, or if you're pulling, you know, do it the other way, where you'll offset a little bit that way, so that whenever you do your stroke, you're actually you're not having them direct on top of each other. They're a little bit offset, so that when you lay the ink, it pushes over towards the print. And so that one was shifted a little left. All the rest of them, they're perfectly lined. So in order to compensate for that one, I turned and printed this way, so that I'm actually pushing the ink over that way, and it covered the remainder of the underbase, and it worked. So that's one. It kind of looks a little bit different than the others now, so I'm obviously not going to consider that one to be a good print as far as what I'm going to pass along to the customer. I'll pull that one out separate, lay it on top, you know, and still give it to them. They can take it if they want it. It's not awful, but it's not dead on. So if they want it, they can have it. But I'm not going to fold it up and include it with the rest of them. Thanks, Gus. Hey, Zach. Pinpoint, what's up? Everybody. What is I don't know what EMD. I don't know what EMD is, Gus. Is that, maybe that's the type of music I'm listening to, and I just don't know. Don't know what that is. I'm like Carmelo with DMV. I'd have to Google that. In my early days of printing for this business, I would use that trick quite a bit. Really, like if I was doing a multicolored and I had a joystick registration, then it was really difficult. So sometimes I would print the underbase this way and the top color this way, every shirt. Worked out. Do what you can to get through when you're those early days when you're learning. Make it work. As long as the print comes out nice, it doesn't matter how you accomplish it. Doesn't matter. Get a nice print, go with it. So the way I'm lining these up, center of the print is about 4 inches off center of the platen, center of the shirt. Customer wanted the artwork to be 6 inches from this bottom of this neck seam to the center of the print. I think it's too much. I normally go 4 inches at most. Sometimes I go 3. But then I line up you've got about an inch or half inch or so, try to hit right in here. You can go line up with straight the collar, but this helps you get all the sizes lined up pretty well. If you just line up with the left edge of the collar or thereabouts, so when I pull this, it lines up just pretty good. So that's what this is measuring, about 6 inches down. Normally I would lay the collar at the very end of the platen, and then I would line my artwork up that way. But like I said, they wanted it 6 inches instead of 3 or 4. Or 4, I would normally do 4. And then I usually just line up the left hand of the collar with the middle of the print. So for this underbase Carmelo, I choked this, or it was like offset the path. So I keep looking up at this camera like you can see me. You can see me over here. If you watch my separations video, you see when I did the underbase, I used a command called offset path, and it's under filters, path, offset path. And see, that one hits good now, so I must have just had the platen loose. And I offset it, I think this one with this, I'd offset the front different than the back, because the front I didn't have as much room to work with because it's a smaller design, so the offset's very small and the registration is pretty tight here, so I have to be pretty precise. The back, you've got a little bit more breathing room, and you can kind of overlap over the edge of the underbase pretty significantly compared to the front. So I offset the path more on the back than I did on the front, but I offset the underbase, so it essentially shrunk it, choked it in, which is the same as adding a stroke, the same color as the background, but I just like the offset path command. So offset the path, I think I did this one like negative 0.02 maybe on the front, and negative 0.05 I think on the back. I don't really remember for sure, but I use the offset path command in Illustrator. I prefer it because with strokes, when strokes go around edges and corners and stuff, you can get some really janky stuff, and if you have it on square edges for your stroke, for even if it's center or outer stroke, it will sometimes make like a really long, extension on a strange corner. And the only way to get rid of it is to do rounded corners. Well, you don't necessarily want that either. Offset path will follow all of the original contour. So this design has some distress in it. It's got a hole and kind of some parts that are missing, and it's just the way the design is made. And so I needed it to shrink and maintain all of the same contour throughout. So that's what offset path allows. Yeah, I'm not sure what you are really referencing for sure on the eliminating the stroke, because um, I didn't have any stroke on this design. So like if you're talking about an outline, like an outer stroke, um, I don't ever do anything to change the actual finished layer, the top layer. So I don't add any strokes or anything, or if there's a stroke as a part of the design, I'll convert it to an object first so that it's no longer a stroke. Um, and so everything is one flat object. So there's not really a stroke to eliminate. Typically, I mean, you can, if it's like a very simple design, you can add a stroke to the top layer, I guess, to expand it. Or it's typically better to add a stroke to a more subtractive stroke to the underbase to shrink it down a little bit. But yeah, go watch the video. It'll make more sense then. But I use the offset path command. Because what you're doing is shrinking that underbase so that the color on top will choke the white. It will choke the outer edges of the white to prevent that white from bleeding out, which can be an issue with these particular shirts because these are the Comfort Colors C1717, I think they are. I personally don't like them. I wouldn't want to wear this. Don't really like printing on them either. They really soak up the water-based ink, and it can really start to bleed if it's a little too runny. So choking that underbase is important. Shoot. Not paying attention. Again, this is why we do extras. Looky there. This is what happens when you multitask. But I'll tell you the good news. So, reprinted an underbase here, obviously on a shifted shirt. But I've already cured this part. This hasn't been under the flash at all. So, thankfully, since this is water base, I'm just going to wash that out. So this shirt is not ruined. If I had thrown this under, then yeah, that would have been very difficult, if possible at all, to get out. But it's a great thing about water base. I misprinted it. It actually didn't affect this design at all. I'm going to let this sit for a little bit just so this has a little more time to cure, because I've got that low cure additive, so it cures over 48 hours, 24 to 48 hours. But this one here has not cured. So when I'm done printing, I'm going to grab the hose and I'm going to spray that out. And this shirt, once it dries, will be perfectly fine. Ask me how I know all that, because I've done it a bunch. Don't be afraid to screw up, because you're going to, and things are going to happen. What's key is that you find the creative solution for when you screw up and when things go wrong. Loosen this thing up. It's bothering me. It's because you haven't been watching enough. I haven't shown enough videos to show me screwing up. But this is the risk I take doing this stuff live, and you know, shows you that I'm real and I'm not faking this stuff. We all mess up. I have messed up just as much or more than anybody. Like I said, is why I know that printing that way can work and rinsing out the design can work. Because sometimes you screw up and you ain't got time to get another one, or I don't know, for various reasons you need to fix it. So you figure out how to fix it. So this tan is kind of thickening up a little bit as it gets warm, so I'm going to add a little bit more. It's kind of thinning out. Pull the water hose over here and show you. Number one shirt I recommend, also the one I sell the most of, hands down, by a vast majority. Probably 60 to 70% of the orders I do are on a Bella Canvas Tri-Blend t-shirt. 3413. Once people feel that shirt and they wear it, they order it every time. So I've sent people a sample, and they pay the extra. It didn't make me any extra money, but I just love the feel of the shirt. It's nice and thin. It's easy to print on. It's perfect with water-based ink because it's a really soft premium shirt, and the water-based ink is a nice soft premium print. So it's a perfect complement for each other. So it's what I recommend most and what people have ordered the most. The other 40% of my orders, you know, probably 20% are things like this, where there's just cheap cotton shirts. Well, these aren't cheap, but cotton shirts. Or a blend, which is typically also Billy Canvas. They also have a ton of color options. They've got like 30 or 40 color options, and they're really nice colors. Alright. I'm going to hook the hose up real quick and show you guys that this will wash out. It better wash out after I'm talking about it like this. Be right back. Welcome to printing in a basement. Alright. White ink. Remember where I'm at here. Alright. Moment of truth. Obviously it's wet. Gone. One little smidge I messed right there. Alright, now it's gone. See? No longer a messed up shirt. Now I'll just hang it to dry. Pack it in with all the others and it's good to go. Made a mess on the pad. There's that other shirt. Oh, it's time to vacuum. get that zoomed in a little bit. Let's see. There we go. There we go. Except for you see my bald spot a little better. I'll make that nice and clear for you all. So I don't watch these videos back. I don't like that thinning going on back there. I can't stop it. This is proof that I'm going to be 40 later this year. Think about how long this white sits in this screen while I'm printing the 2 rounds of the other color. And I'm not having any issues with it blocking up in the screen. I say that because people just seem to be so terrified to print with water-based ink unless they have like the perfect setup. And it's just not necessary. Anybody can print with it. It does not dry out as fast as everybody makes it seem. '40s is the new 30. I'll take it. Oh, see? My brother-in-law sending me all kinds of videos on Instagram. Oh, Carmelo, it varies. how many jobs I get in a month. Since this is a side gig for me and I don't market it at all, I've posted on social media a little bit this year, but that's the first time since the very first year I started that I've actually been semi-active on social media. But I don't promote the company because I don't want it to get overwhelming, and it's kind of a fun hobby for me. And honestly, I'd rather do the teaching stuff than to have my own print shop become my career. So I just let whatever comes in be what comes in and call it good. There are some months when I've had like 2 or 3 orders a week. Sometimes it's like 4 or 5 orders in a week. Sometimes it's like 6 orders one week and none the next 2 weeks. So it just depends. Some months I've only done a couple of orders, and those I've actually intentionally shut down. So I've had people contact me, but I let them know that I'm on a break. But yeah, it just varies. It's enough to keep me plenty busy most of the time. There's very rarely a time when I don't have a couple of orders in the works. Right now I've got this one. It's 130, 140 shirts, I forget. I've got another one. Same company. That I got to print Wednesday and Thursday. And then I got another one that I'm waiting on shirts to come in stock for. And so I'll print that as soon as those come in stock. I got another one that just ordered today. It's another 50 shirts that I'll probably print over the weekend. So it just varies. Sent out 2 quotes today to 2 different companies. And actually one I kind of added to it. I don't really want the job. So I kind of bumped up the price quite a bit, hoping that they'll either go somewhere else or it'll be worth it. Just have various reasons that I don't really want to do the job. But since it's a side gig, I have the luxury of doing that. Being picky about clients that I take on. But all that to say, if I were to really make a go at this, like I've always thought, if I were to get let go from my job, I could, if I hustled, I could pretty quickly and pretty easily replace my day job with this if I really wanted to. Now, I'd have to work my butt off. And it would be, I'd probably lose a little bit of the joy of screen printing there for a bit while I worked my tail off until things kind of got in a groove and settled in. But that's just me. But it's there, you know. I mean, the potential's there. There's a lot of money to be made in screen printing, no matter where you're at. Even if there's a company that's down the street, I think you can make an impact and you can make a career out of it. Anybody can, if you work at it. Sometimes it does. Yeah, it does get overwhelming. Last year I printed a job. It was just one job overwhelmed me. I printed one that was, I think I spent like 10 or 12 hours total printing that order. Oh, that's just the first one. So it was pretty overwhelming. I was kind of ready to take a break after that because it was a 2-color left chest, 1-color sleeve, and a 2-color back on like 350 shirts. It took forever. And one of the 2 colors was white, not just an underbase. And so the white, I had to go around twice to get the bright white and then print the other color on top of that too. It took forever. I was crossing my fingers they wouldn't reorder any add-ons or anything. But I mean, on a regular basis, I do a pretty good job of kind of buffering. I don't ever tell people that I don't want to print their order, but I'll do like I've done with the quote today, where I'll make it super expensive, knowing that it probably will send them somewhere else. But I'm very picky about who I do that to, because I don't want to drive off a customer that could connect me with other customers. Even if I don't want to print their job, if it's a kind of an end to a group or connection, I'll still do it. But I've kind of priced myself intentionally out of certain jobs, to sometimes because I don't want to do it, or sometimes because it's like I just don't have the capacity to take it on. But that's been super rare, honestly. Most of the time I'll take it, and I have my standard turnaround, 10 business days. And if that doesn't work, or if I'm already full, like right now, I had somebody, the quote today was like asking if they could get it by a certain day in mid-July or mid-June. And I was like, look, here's what the price is going to be, but there's no way I can get it done by then. Now I could, and if they let them know that it would be this cost if they wanted it rushed, then I'll do it. If they want to do it, I can physically, it's possible to do it. I just don't want to, because I don't want to overwhelm my week, because I do family stuff, and this is a side gig, so I have my day job that takes up my days, and I don't want to spend too much time away from my family. I try not to print a lot on the weekends if I can help it, because I'd rather do it on a weeknight so that it doesn't interfere with too much time with family, or take away from time with family. So even on the weekends, I'll do it late at night after I put my kids to bed. But like yesterday, I did print a little bit during my son's nap. I have a 3-year-old and an 11-year-old. And when the 3-year-old was taking a nap from 12:30 to about 2:30, I printed the backs of the white shirts, the white version of this. It only took me there's 87 shirts, I think. It took me 45 minutes, maybe an hour to print them all, because it's black ink. It's super easy. And I'm going to print them after I finish these tonight. So I did print during the day, but my wife was busy doing something else. We had already taken care of some other things, so I had some time. My daughter stayed down here and hung out with me. And then last night we did a family movie night, and so my daughter was up a little later than normal, and so that's why I printed during nap, because I didn't want to print at night, because I knew we were going to do that. We had planned it, and so that's more important, and that's why I'm printing tonight rather than last night. I could have very easily got this order done last night, but I spent time with family, and then I went to bed. So that's why usually my turnaround time is not necessarily how quickly what's possible? How long is this going to take me? It's more of, how long do I want this to take me? And what other things in life do I have that are more important than this for a given night? And how can I space this apart and plan, certain print nights? And that all just kind of helps keep me from being overwhelmed. Again, this way of doing things for that, how I work my schedule, how I kind of buffer how much I take on, is because I want this to remain a side gig. So, if you're going to go at this full force and build a career out of it, and you want it to replace your day job, or you don't have a day job, and so you turn this into a job, you obviously can put a little more effort into it. You're going to promote it. You're going to print. Every night that you have an order, you're going to get stuff done quicker. So it's a different scenario, but this is what works for me. And again, I've mentioned it a million times. I'm confident I could very quickly and very easily, at this point, build something out of my print company. But I have gotten so much joy out of teaching printing rather than doing the printing and for customers and stuff and building that business, that I would rather teach. Unfortunately, I haven't been able to make a lot of videos lately because of life right now and family situations that are more important, and so I don't have as much free time or even as much mental capacity to do the orders that come in, because this keeps going, and also make tutorial videos. But hopefully that changes this week and next week as the family stuff starts to kind of wrap up. Last black shirt, thank goodness. Alright, last one here, so I'm actually going to leave it, clear all the ink out, leave it unflooded and open so that it'll make it easier to clean. So let's see, that was 3. We're going to need to clean the platens. Yeah. A customer's order, for me, is never more important than family time. And in fact, it drives my wife crazy, stresses her out. But I will intentionally often put off printing. Even if I plan on, like if I were planning on printing tonight and something were to change and, I end up doing something with my daughter or my wife, or we spend time and it's a good night, whatever, or we have an opportunity, to go spend some time with friends, or whatever. Life happens and family happens. I personally would rather contact my customer and say, hey, I'm actually going to be a little late on this, or I would rather have to stay up. It's almost 11 o'clock. I'm probably going to go ahead and do the white ones, even though there's 87 of them, because they'll go pretty fast. So I'm here loading this all in one night because I chose to spend time with family and have a weekend where I didn't do any printing over the weekend. That was last weekend. I did that, not the weekend before this past one. So yeah, family's first. Family is what allows me to do this stuff, so I'll put them first. I don't know what I was waiting on. An empty platen over there. I could have moved on to the next one. And that's what I'm going to do. Get these last 3 out of the way. It's getting hot. Should have wore shorts. whites. These are just white rags and test shirts. All right. That's it for those. Now let's do some cleaning. So here's one of the areas where water base is a little more work. I'm gonna hang these up first because I'm done with the white. I'm not gonna print any more white. These are all the black shirts are done. So and the next shirt is black ink. So I'm done with the white screen and I'm done with the white ink. If it were plastisol, I could say, I'll clean it out later. We'll leave it. It's not a big deal. It's water based, so I gotta clean it up. I don't want it to lock up on the screen. I don't want to deal with having to clean it later and getting all sticky and harder to clean off. So, which is also why, you know, when I get to printing these and I decide I'm going to go through with an order on a given night, I got to finish it, or, you know, ideally finish it, because one, I've mixed up some ink with this catalyst that's essentially no good after a certain amount of time. So this white that's left over here is done. So I'll toss this in the trash. I'll consider this waste. In my pricing calculator, I account for waste. So done with that one. Take some aqua wash and spray this because it makes it easier. That's a good lesson to learn, man. It can be a tough lesson to learn, but you know, you wish you would have learned it before, but the next best time to learn it is now. So Better late than never, and just soak up family while you can, and help pass on that lesson to others that can learn it faster than you may have. I'm the same way. I had to learn that lesson as well. I think we all do. We all go through those times. Did I go straight to plastisol? Or straight to water base? No, I did not. Well, I kind of did. I did right out the gate. I knew I'm going to do water based printing. I knew it. Trained under a shop, or went to a class. Talked to the owner there quite a bit after, and he just kept telling me, you know, you really ought to start with plastisol. Water base is going to be a lot of work. You're going to wish you started with plastisol, and then you can move on to water base after you get your feet wet. I just didn't really want to do that. So I, left that class and ordered actually at that class, I think I bought the mixing kit, all the different ink pigments for the water-based stuff. Because I was going to do water-based. I didn't care what he said. I didn't care what anybody else said. I'm going to do water-based because it's so much better. And I printed plastisol one order for a friend of mine because I didn't have the right inks. And at that time I didn't have the mixing system. This was before the class. So I bought some plastisol from a nearby shop. Printed that 2-color design. Hated it. Was kind of confirmation like, no, I don't want to do this. I don't want to do plastisol. Didn't really want to wash it down my drains either. So the only other time that I printed was shortly about 4 months into the business. I tried it again, and I had printed a big order, fairly big for me at the time, like 100 shirts, I think, of water-based white, like I did tonight. And it started to dry up. I wasn't mixing it with the clear core at the time. I didn't know that trick. It's pretty thick. Flash was really hot. I wasn't managing the temperature of that very well. I was just new. I was just inexperienced and didn't really know how to do all of it. And so it was getting really hot, and the ink was getting super thick and really difficult to print. And it scared me. And so I thought, you know what, maybe he's right. Maybe that guy at the shop is right. Maybe I should start with plastisol until I really get the hang of this, and then move on to water base after that. Maybe plastisol is a better choice. I didn't like it, but I was willing to concede. So I did. And the very next order was thankfully a friend of mine. And it was black shirts with a giant white print. And I thought, and it was like 150 shirts. And I was like, there's no way I'm going to get this order done. If that water base is the way it was last time, I got really scared to do it. And so I ordered some plastisol white, some lava white plastisol. I think I actually threw it away. That's a big thing of it. Printed it, tried to cure with the flash, and got reports after I delivered the shirts. Print was washing out. So Up to that time, I hadn't had any complaints about prints washing out with the water-based prints that I had done. The curing was working great. It was not an issue. This was the first time that I'd gotten anybody saying, hey, that print didn't stay. It washed out. So that just sealed it for me. I was like, no, you know what? Never mind. I'm going to figure out how to make white thinner, how to make it work. I'm going to get better at this. And I'm gonna make water-based work because I'm not doing the plastisol crap. So that was what I thought at the time. And I have not printed a single plastisol print. That was in the fall of 17. I think, yeah, the fall of 17 is when that last one that I printed with plastisol. So I've printed 2 orders with plastisol, and I'll never do it again. There's nothing wrong with it, honestly. It's just I just don't like it. I don't like the feel. I don't like the chemicals that you have to use. I don't like that if you get it on you, it's so hard to get off. There's just a lot of things I don't like about it. And for me, it's worth the extra work to do water base for the opposite of all those reasons. It's easy to get off my hands, prints easily, feels great on the nice tri-blend shirts. It's a nice soft print. I can print on other things besides shirts or apparel. I can print on paper, wood. I like it. So I'm sticking with it, and I will probably never print plastisol at my shop. Alright, let's get some black ink next up. Sorry, didn't know you couldn't hear me. I don't know why. Maybe I turned the sound off. That's what I did. I bet I did. On that camera. Let's see. Yep. See what this one's set at. All right. Sorry, so I was saying in response to David's comment, he's absolutely correct. If you throw plastisol ink in run some warm water around the tub of ink, or just mixing the ink itself. A lot of people will take a drill with a mixer on the end, like a paint mixer, and will mix a big bucket and just to get it working. Because plastisol ink, when it warms up, it thins. It becomes more malleable. It becomes easier to work with, smoother, because it's just a thick goop. Like I think I have a F&, yeah. I have a thing of F&, that Ryan had sent me for free one time. Never used it. It's totally brand new. But, I mean, lids off. You can't do that with water-based ink. So that is just totally gooped in there. So, you really got to get it working and get it warmed up however you want to do that. Whether it's throwing it in some water, the tub, the ink container itself in some hot water to warm it up, or mixing it. You really warm that ink up and it'll make it easier to work with. White especially, because it's thicker than the other colors, because they have to add more pigment in it, because white's not a natural pigment. But the good thing is that is not necessary with water-based ink. This stuff is nice and thin, and easy to work with. I mean, it's smooth. There's no way I could tip this upside down because it would pour right out. So water-based ink is, you don't have to warm it up. It is good to go right out of the can. Nice and smooth and easy to print. But if you're printing plastisol, do like David said, and get that ink warmed up somehow. Kind of bled a little bit. I went at it too hard. I think I thinned it. When I was talking about the stroke earlier, you were asking about the print stroke. I actually made it a little thinner, I think, so this black ink's going to work better on this white screen. Yep. I'm going to switch it out. That one's looking fine, but I think it's going to look better in that other one. I'm going to give it a little bit more. It's going to give it a little bit more width. Some of the areas. Yeah, that looks nice. All right. I don't think I'm going to clean the pot. I think I'm fine. Printing black ink, I'm only going around one time. I don't really need the shirts to stick that much. But I do need to clean the hangers off first. Forgot I was going to throw a couple of samples of hoodies in for this customer. They asked, we talked about samples. I told them I would just throw one in and print it for this order. It's for a future order. These are just Gildan G 185 or 18500. It's different vendors call it different numbers, but it's their dry blend hoodie, I think. No, heavy blend. Yeah, this one's the 100% cotton heavy. No, it's not. It's 50-50. Yeah, heavy blend. Again, I don't like them. They shrink. Not great hoodies, but whatever. All right, we're about to run through all these. I'm going to use all these hangers except for two. I remember that from the last time I printed the backs. David, no, I don't need a special dryer. I have added warp drive, clear core, or warp drive low cure catalyst to my inks. I have a video about that on my channel. I talked about how much I add to the inks, but I add 1.5% by volume of the warp drive, and that allows me to cure the inks to 260 degrees under my flash here, and I don't have forced air. It's just a standard 16x16 flash, and it doesn't have temperature gauges. It doesn't have an on-off switch. It's either plugged in or not, and it's either full blast or not. I adjust the heat on the shirts based on how high the flash is off the shirts. Sometimes I do have a fan. Sometimes I will point the fan on low so it blows air across the shirts. If I'm printing a more detailed print, the shirts have to stay into the flash a little longer. I'll have it higher, and I'll have the air just kind of slowly blowing across the print, and it'll keep the air moving. It'll keep me from burning the shirts. But other than that, the low cure catalyst and just a standard flash, and I cure the water-based inks with that. And I have, since 2017, when I started printing, and I started printing with water-based ink, I've not had a single customer come to me saying that their ink has washed out or faded or anything like that. We're going to fly through these whites compared to how long the blacks took. Print it, pull it loose from the platen. That allows the air to get down underneath the print so that it cures all the way through the shirt. Water-based ink soaks into the fibers of the shirt, so the heat has to get, really even with plastisol, the heat needs to get all the way around because it needs to cure all the way throughout the ink layer. And it's no different with water-based. It needs to cure all the way through. This feels a little high on the off contact. Why I didn't feel like that with the others, but maybe I just didn't notice it. Almost dropped my squeegee. See, I messed that one up. When I dropped that squeegee, it bounced the ink and it made it fall into the design a little bit. And that shirt, again, I've printed extras. There's like 4 extra of every size in here that I've printed, I think. So gave myself plenty of room for error, but also sometimes the shirts are messed up, so I always order extras because they'll get them with holes in them and stuff like that. So I'm not worried about that one being messed up. I will not even include that. That'll become a rag. But now I need to clean this screen because when I bounce that, pressed it down into the design. But it's all right. David, I have a website. I have, done some SEO on there. I've made sure that I have accurate information on Google for like Google Maps, Google My Business, that type of stuff. And for Yelp, I've made sure my information is up to date there. I don't pay for any of that crap. Don't fall for the Yelp trap where they'll try to reach out and get you to pay for advertisements, and they'll say all these customers are trying to find you and all this junk. Don't believe the hype. Yelp is a waste of time. Nobody gets on Yelp looking for a screen printer. They get on Google looking for screen print. But anyways, people find me through that or word of mouth. So that's been, the two ways that people find me. Well, the other way would be, like recently I wanted a particular client, so I went and bought from them. There's a flower shop and there's a coffee shop. Both I went and bought from them, and as I'm buying from them and they see me, they get to know me, I mentioned that I'm a small business owner or with a coffee shop. Actually, the small business, the flower shop recommended me to the coffee shop. But I become their customer and I support them, and then I talk about, hey, if you need this, you need apparel, stuff, I'm actually local, I print, I can do that for you. And so that's kind of how I get in the door with a lot of stuff like that too. And that's worked really well. Still don't like the off contact on this. I don't know what happened. Oh, that's better. That's so much better. And yeah, Carmelo, it is a weird placement. Yeah, 6 inches down. I mean, it's gonna be like right here, and that's not left chest placement. That's not where it should be. It should be up here. But I told the customer, hey, normally I'll do this, and they said on the art proof, hey, can you drop the front print a couple of inches? And I'm like, well, first of all, how do you know where it's even at on a digital proof? Like, what is 2 inches on a digital mock-up? Like, I don't know. So I usually tell them, all right, yeah, I can absolutely do that, but how about I tell you what our standard is? My standard is 3 to 4 inches down, and it's about 4 inches over to this seam, the neck seam here, straight down, so off center. But about 3 to 4 inches down to the center of the print. And obviously that fluctuates. If it's a really tall print, you'll go a little lower because it's taller. Just different size prints or different placements. But I told them that, I would normally go this. How far would you like me to go? And that way, when they come back and say, hey, well, I wanted you to drop that 2 inches. This seems like a little more than what I could see on the proof. I could be in trouble there, They could very easily argue that. But if I get them to tell me specifically, how many inches do you want this placed? Now they can say, well, this is a little too low. It's like, well, that's where you wanted it, and I told you that that's not the standard. So, because like this should be, this is close around. You see, here's the seam, 6 inches right to the center of that print. This really should be up here. This is where this left chest placement should be. This would be so much better right in there. And then, this is off center here. This, there's 4 inches. So, but it was their choice. Same thing with the back. They wanted the back, the design to begin 6 inches below the back seam. I think it's a little low, but it's not awful. It's It's not awful. It just looks a little low. But I guess for girls, if the girls have hair, down, or guys. I mean, guys can have long hair too. But if anyone has hair, that's long, it doesn't cover up the print. So I could see that. But the front, I just don't. I don't like it. But you give the customer options and let them choose, and whatever they choose and pay for is what you do. And David, you were asking about curing. I could check these with a temp gun, to see. That's already at 251, 285. So that's already the temperature. So in that short amount of time, that's normally how I gauge. All right, I checked it. That was enough time for me to take a shirt off, put another one on, and print it. I can keep going. So I've kind of learned how much time it takes to cure it. Yeah, that works too. If you have a mannequin you want to use, but I tell people, take your shirt and take a ruler on yourself, and figure out where you want this to be placed. Because even what looks good on a mannequin, what is that? A medium? Large, extra large? We don't know. So, I just find it works for me to have them measure on their stuff and let me know exactly where they want it, so that they're the ones that made the decision, not me. Even if it's the wrong decision, like this is. Fuck it. Flooded a little heavy that time. No? Sorry about the air compressor. Yeah. I think you're right. There's a risk that they complain, but I'm okay if they want to complain because, oh shoot. I didn't realize I got that on my screen. Because I can remind them that that was their choice. Gotta stop multitasking here. We'll do the same thing I did earlier. Cure this shirt. But I'm not going to cure that mess up part. Even though I have extras, I think I can still salvage this one. Got a little ghost print. So let's fix it. Fixed. Love water-based ink. I'm not going to flood this because this is a 156 screen. That black ink is super thin and runny, and it was kind of running down into the design a little bit when I flooded it. So I'm gonna keep that not flooded. I'm not worried about it drying out or locking up in the screen. Pulling an all-nighter. I'm gonna be here for at least another probably 30 minutes. I could do these tomorrow, but I'd rather just get it done. Getting fancy doing a pull stroke. It's like against my rules. I just never have been good at the pull stroke. It's always been easier for me to push. So weird. Oh, back hurts. David, I think it depends on what's important to that printer. I think it's easy for people to, especially when they're entrepreneurs, there's this mentality or assumption today that if you're an entrepreneur, the only way to be an entrepreneur or a business owner or to grow your business is to like kill yourself, like hustle at all costs and say no to friends and family for a few years and give everything you've got to the business, and otherwise it'll never grow, or you're not really a small business owner, or I don't know, all the excuses. So I don't think that getting an automatic has to take you away from your family. I think it's all just a decision. I think it's a choice. What you choose to be most important in your life and how you choose to manage that. And for me, if getting an automatic means I'm going to not see my family as often because I'm going to be too busy, then I would just rather not do it. I would rather not have the business at all. Somebody asked a question. What was the other question? Yeah, I think that's probably an assumption that people make. I think that's probably the catalyst. I think you're right. I think people think they have to bust it to pay for the press. And I think that just comes down to maybe you got in over your head. Maybe you shouldn't have opted for an automatic yet. Personally, I wouldn't upgrade to an automatic unless I could project doing enough based on my historical data that I could cash flow, I could make a major deposit and cash flow an automatic with my current print load in 6 to 12 months. And I know you hear that and you're like, yeah, that's ridiculous. Like, that's welcome to a dream world, dude. That ain't happening. And you're probably right. But I just personally would rather be able to see the way I have been printing and know that I could at least maintain that and still pay for it in a year or less. Or maybe you just set it at a year, 18 months at most, with your current cash flow. And then anything extra is just that much faster that you get to pay it off. You know, I mean, that's just money in the bank. I'd be paying it off as fast as I possibly could. But if people are getting into automatic presses and getting themselves into 3, 5, 7 year payment plans or leases, I mean, come on. That's like, that needs to be your second automatic purchase. Not your first. Like, don't get in over your head. Keep forgetting. Somebody else asked a question, I feel like. Jose, this space pretty big. I mean, I think from the width from wall to wall here, I measured that at one time. I think that's 20 feet. Six. Probably about 22 to 24 feet, maybe. And then the area that I actually use in the basement is about the same. So it's about a 20, it's actually a little longer this way than it is this way to my tables. So I would say 20 by 22 that I'm using. The rest of it's, you know, storage and regular basement stuff. I'll probably show you. Oh, nope, there's a speaker in the way. Yeah, so, but from those tables there over to the wall behind me, it's probably about 20 feet. And then that wall over to right here where my wash bay is, you know, to that back wall back there is about 22 feet. You know, I'm probably like a little overkill on my thoughts on, you know, the automatic press investment and stuff, but I just really don't like debt. I mean, I cash flow this business, so that way it doesn't have any debt. So if I didn't get orders for 6 months, I'm fine. I think a lot of businesses that didn't survive through the pandemic were probably stretched a little too thin with their debt and trying to cash flow payments a little too much. Where if they had been working with things they owned outright, it's okay to take loans and to, especially for equipment, make investments on equipment, but it shouldn't be long term. Like, it needs to be a short term sprint to get that investment paid for so that it becomes a 100% profit machine. Um, yeah. Um, yeah, Camarillo, this is a lot faster with black ink and white shirts. This is just printer's dream right here. Um, David, actually, first, Carmelo, before I forget and before you log off, I don't know when if you're gonna stay the whole time. Um, I did, I was thinking about, you said, I feel like they're still gonna complain because this print's gonna be a little too low on the front, but even though it's to the measurement that they asked for, and I agree with that. And I remembered I actually had an order one time where something similar happened, where it was actually with a Bella Canvas tri-blend tank top. They're super sheer. And the customer was printing, it was a nonprofit, and they wanted these tank tops to sell to women. And I warned them. And I even went so far as to order a sample for them. And I was like, hey, these are really sheer. And I don't, like, sheer's not even a good enough word. They're flat see-through. And like, are you sure you want these? These are see-through. And they wanted white and gray. It was like a dark gray. And I was like, are you sure? Because they're super thin. I'm like, yep, we want them. They did complain. Not complain, but they came back to me not long after I delivered the order. And they said, we want to do this order again, but we want to do it with a different tank top. These are just a little too thin. Fine. They paid me all over again. Paid me for both orders, It was not a redo. It was not my fault. So I got a ton of money off that group. That nonprofit actually ordered throughout the year. It's been 3 years ago, I think. I don't think it was 2020. I think it was 2019. Yeah. I think they spent like $16,000 with me that year. Just getting all kinds of stuff printed. It was like, sure, bring it on. But David, to your question, which I already forgot your question. Did you start with a silver press? No, I did not. I started with a Riley Hopkins Jr. 4x4 joystick registration. I mean, I started with a, where's my DIY kit? I think I've got it in the back. The little DIY blue, simple. I've got another one back here. This is just the Riley 150, 1x1. I started with the little DIY kit that you order from Ryan. Printed the first several customer orders on that thing. But then I bought the Riley Hopkins Jr. 4x4 with joystick registration. It was a great press. I did not like the joystick registration. I'm glad they stopped making that. It was fine for one color prints, but anytime you're doing multi and having to register stuff, it was just a pain in the butt. So sold that press 2 years ago because I found this press. This is a Riley 300 8x6, and I found it at an online auction that was doing a print shop liquidation. Shop was closing or something. I don't know what was happening. I don't know if they got acquired or what, but it was a full liquidation auction, no reserve. I saw an ad for it on Instagram, and I checked it out and saw this press, and I thought, I'm not really in the market to upgrade. I wasn't ready to spend. These are over $8,000 new. And I was like, no, I'm not to that point yet. I don't need it. You know, I'm not going to spend $8,000, but I'll log on to this auction and I'll see. Never know. I've got some cash in the bank. I might, if I can get this at a cheap price, I might go ahead and grab it. And I paid $1,000 for this press, and it was brand new. So, I have 2 complaints about this press. Not even really complaints. Not complaints. Just would be nice if it had. It would be nice if it was an 8 station rather than 6. The 8 colors is nice, but honestly, I would flip those if I could. I'd rather do 6 colors with 8 stations than 8 colors with 6 stations. But whatever. You know, couldn't turn it down for the price. And it's a great press. I love it. But the only other thing that I would like to have, just be nice, would be side clamps. You know, it'll be nice. You can get them as an add-on. Now, keep in mind, this press is not made for side clamps. They are an aftermarket add-on that Ryonet does sell that you can add to it and modify the press. But still, it wasn't designed for it, you know, so it's not really ideal. So I'd like to get a press that's designed and has side clamps. And they're out there, you know. What's the red one that a lot of people have gone to, a lot of manual printers use. God, I forget the name of it. Anatol. You know, theirs has side clamps. And they have a nice laser. This laser from Ryonet, it's just one. I wish it had the multiple lasers. But, you know, it's not the end of the world to not have side clamps. It's really not that big a deal. Printers have printed for, you know, forever on presses that just have back clamps. So, it's not really a big deal. It would just be nice. And I might swap, you know, if Ryonet ever comes out with one that's made that way, or maybe I'll go with Anatol or something. Although, I gotta say, I do not like the red. It's just a lot of red. Red's your favorite color, great. For me, green is actually my favorite color. All shades of green, but especially a hunter green, an army green, or a lime green, which, perfect. Got all this lime green. This is ideal for me. So I'm partial to the Ryonet stuff, the Riley Hopkins presses. I think they're just great presses, American made. You know, they're nice. They're a great company to work with. I've always got my supplies and stuff there, so I like it. I got nothing against the Anatol stuff or the M&R or Workhorse or any of those. Those are all great presses. The shop I worked at, we had a Workhorse automatic and a M&R manual. So they're all phenomenal machines. At the end of the day, it really doesn't matter which one you pick, which one you have, whether it's a fancy one or not. You can put out great work and just, you know, be proud of what you got. There's nothing wrong with it. And honestly, the press is the least important part. I mean, that's a bold statement, but if I had it to do over again and I had, you know, a bunch of money to get the equipment I needed, I'm probably dropping more to get nicer exposure unit and a wash bay and a filtration system and you know, a curing solution. If I could fit a dryer, if I had the power for a dryer down here, I don't. But if I did, I would get a dryer. And then I would get a press that's manageable, you know. If I'm just starting out and all I can swing is a 4x4 and get all the other stuff as nicer, and I'm end up with a 4x4 press, I think it's great. It'll last you 5 or 7 years, you know, even doing full time. You'll be fine. And then, you know, you can always cash flow and upgrade or add a second press. I was tempted to keep my other press, but ended up selling it for more than I bought this one for, even though it was 4 years old. But if you don't have good screens, good exposures, you know, good transparencies, doesn't matter how nice your press is. And think about the nicest shirt you've ever seen, the nicest print you've ever seen. You know what press printed that? Exactly. You don't know, because it doesn't matter. All that matters is you came out with a quality print. It's like, yeah, I'm a baseball player, played all through college, and I love baseball. And it's always the thing, you know, guy gets a swinging bunt, swings as hard as he can, and it just dribbles out of the infield, and he makes it first safe. The scorecard says single. It doesn't say that it was a weak single or pathetic single. You know, guy hits a home run, just barely clears the left field wall 365 feet. And another guy hits another home run that goes 480 feet. In the scorecard, those both say home run. You put two shirts side by side that both have phenomenal prints, and it doesn't matter what press that was printed on. Whew, did it. Raymond just printed himself as well. Good to hear, man. Gus, yes, it is water based. I'm gonna work backwards. Always water based for me. Collins, yes. Print Fab is what I use. So David, I have used AccuRip. I have AccuRip, but I like Print Fab. Well, I had AccuRip. I think my license expired. But when I bought AccuRip, I pre-ordered the newest version. I forget what it's called. Emerald, I think. And it wasn't out, and so they were giving PrintFab as a solution instead. So I got a license for PrintFab, and it's a one-time license, whereas AccuRip is an ongoing, like $200 a year or something like that. And so I use PrintFab, and I love it. I think it works great. So I have a Epson 1430, Artisan 1430 printer. I got the Black Max all black ink system. I have a video about this. If you go watch my video on printing films, I show the printer I have. I show the ink system, all of that. And I got that printer off eBay. Works great. Swapped out for all black ink. It works great to print my films, and it's UV blocking ink, so it's even better. Let's see. Ooh, sorry, that was loud. Let's see. Can y'all still hear? Yeah. Okay. What else? Giants aren't doing too well. Yep. The Braves are, though. They're doing great. What else? Oh, the last thing. David. No, you're not keeping me from finishing. Please keep commenting. Keep asking questions. Keep talking. I love it. I love helping. I love answering questions. And I love talking, too. I love teaching. So don't ever apologize for that. Keep it coming, man. Keep it coming. Raymond, if you're still here, what did you print tonight? How many shirts? What was the print type? Anybody else in the comments doing water-based ink like me? I'm going to clean the screen out while we'll look for those answers. And I will say, for anybody here, looks like we have several on. If you're enjoying watching me print or any of the stuff that I've put together, the videos that I've made, my style of teaching or explaining things, or and you want more of that, or I don't really know how to put it. Basically, I've said over and over that I really want to do this full time, and I want to kind of double down on doing this because I'm just enjoying it so much, and I'd rather do this than even have my own print shop. I just really enjoy teaching and enjoy watching other people grow shops as a result of me just helping them out. And so, as a part of that, and to kind of help me teach even more and answer questions even more during the day when I'm working. I work remote, I work at home. I have created a place for what I'm calling like-minded screen printers to gather to help each other out. Because I truly believe that we all have something to offer, and we all have things we've learned that can help each other, and I want the help myself, like advice and support from other printers. I don't have all the answers, so I'm still learning at a lot of this stuff too. So a little bit selfishly, I want a place where I can pick the brains of other printers and learn from the lessons they're learning. And that's hard to do on social media. I mean, it's really hard to do on social media. It's hard to do on, the Facebook groups. There are Facebook groups, but man, those are just so easy to get lost in. It just goes so fast, and it's so distracting with Facebook anyways. I just don't get on Facebook very much, if at all. I just don't like it. There's just so much going on. And so, all that to say, I've created a place for people to gather and talk and chat and post questions and just build relationship and build community, and help each other grow incredible businesses. And I haven't really put it out there yet much. There are a few people on there. Carmelo's in there. Jose was on here earlier. I don't know if he's still on, but he's in there. So there's a few people in there that we're there asking questions, and I'm hoping that it'll become a place that people can come for answers and come for support and come for help, and that they enjoy helping other printers and come to hang out. Anyways, it's called the Print Crew, and so if you want to be a part of the Print Crew, there's a free. It's free. You join. It's theprintcrew.com, if you'll see a link to it on my website, startupscreenprinting.com. So you can go to it from there, or just go straight to theprintcrew.com and create a free account, and you are now in the free group to chat. And it works just like a Facebook group where you make a post, people can comment on it, etc. Once you're in there, you will see that there is a paid version. That is just an opportunity to go even deeper. I'm doing in the paid, it's things like monthly office hours, other live streams that aren't on YouTube, or pictures and support, and access to some classes that I'm working on and online courses and stuff. So I'm really trying to create things that you guys want, like whatever can support you grow your business, support you as you learn to print, or grow your business, if you've already started or whatever. I obviously will be in this at some point to make money out of it, because I want it to support me and I want to keep doing it and double down on it. So there's always that side of things, but the reason I have a paid version of that community is just because I want another area where I want the really serious people to go. Like, if you really are wanting to make a thing out of this, and you're really serious about helping others, and you're really serious about getting the support you need to grow your business, you need some skin in the game. And when it's free, people just don't take those things seriously. So it's paid just to pay for the platform, because it costs me money to host it, and I've been doing it on my own. And so there's that part of it. But when you pay for it, you're going to take it seriously, and you're going to be involved, and you're going to interact, and you're really going to get more out of it, because you're only going to get out of it what you put into it. But just wanted to throw that out there for anybody that's on the stream now. And I appreciate you watching. I appreciate the support, the feedback. I really am doing this to just to help other people. It's just, that's the most fun part, is just helping others. And so if you want more of that and you want to be a part of this, theprintcrew.com. I'd love your feedback. I'd love for you to join there and help me grow a community of printers that are just focused on growing incredible businesses and helping other printers do the same. We've got a lot of great people in there so far, and it's just going to get better. And I'm going to be doing, like I said, online courses that I'm going to be putting inside of that community. The paid members will get access to some of those just as a benefit, and then you'll be able to pay for that ad hoc a la carte if you want. But I'm going to offer up one-to-one coaching or even group coaching at some point, so that's kind of in the future. But whatever you're interested in, if any of this stuff interests you, a community, that kind of stuff, or maybe it's something else, some other way that I can support you, that's what I want to know. I want to hear that. This is not just my ideas of like, how can I make money out of this? It's like, well, what do people need? How can I really support other printers and help them really get the information they need and the knowledge they need and the encouragement they need? And since I don't have all the answers, the best way that I can think of to get the most support for the most printers is to build a community of people who are just willing to help each other out and there to really put in the effort and help build a great community, because I think it's going to be an incredible asset for all of our businesses. I say that I don't want this to be my full-time thing, but I still would like it to grow. I still would like to continue to do it and make money out of it. So I want to grow my business too. So this is kind of self-serving to build other people around me to learn from them, because I'm learning. But anyways, haven't done water base, Collins. Thanks, David. Glad you like the name. Collins, you should try water base again. Contract gigs, I do not want to do that. So good for you for being willing to do that. David, that's really crazy to learn how to screen print on vertical bank windows. That's super cool. I saw a video of somebody doing that recently, and I thought, man, that's super neat. Thanks, Carmelo. Yeah, so if you want to give it a shot, like I said, there's a free portion, and it's a basically a chat, just like a Facebook page. So yeah, I'd love to have as many people as possible, because I think we could just help each other, and that's my goal. So all right, I'm gonna clean up now, pack these shirts up. So I'm gonna call it a night, though. I'll probably pack them up tomorrow. But really appreciate everybody watching. For those of you who are still hanging out, looks like we've got, I think, maybe 7 or so watching. So thank you. I appreciate it. I hope that you learned something from the answers that I gave, or just watching me print, whether it's learning to do it the way I do it, or maybe you watch me and go, that's not good, I want to do it a different way. That's fine too. So however I can teach you, I'm okay with. But hopefully you enjoyed it. Hopefully you learned something, and I hope you have a great night wherever you're at, whatever time it is. It's 12:35 here, so I'm gonna head to bed. So see y'all.